That's right, everybody. It's just, you're always ready. You're always ready, so just do it and just get on with it and just don't be afraid. Just dive in. Just get started as soon as possible because the beginning is only the beginning. You don't want to waste all that time before the beginning like I did. Not even getting started. That's why I'm 30 and I'm just trying to. Probably should have done this before I set up, just so, there'd be a little bit more of a pleasant introduction, but whatever. Here we are. Oh, I don't know. I just feel an obligation to the community. I know I've been all over the place. My schedule's been erratic with the streaming, but I want to get the content out to the people, just and trauma dump and you know life event kind of venting, and just go over the film criticism. This is Kaye du Cinema. Apparently, I'm hefty. Junie came to the open mic. Shout out to Junie. He called me hefty. He said I was looking good. So, I mean, it's healthy to be, I think. So, I'm feeling fat shamed, really. So, I'm going to, I'm dealing with that. Reorienting my whole life. I'm rethinking everything. I'm making big changes. I'm going, like everyone, I think I'm going through we're all going through a collective kind of Kevin Costner renaissance. For some reason, I really am invested in Kevin Costner. Even though I haven't seen any of this stuff, I haven't seen fucking Yellowstone even. I haven't seen apparently Horizon Bomb. This is what he's a visionary. Okay, he's ahead of his time. Is what always happens to Costner. Waterworld, The Postman. He always bombs. Okay, because he just sees the fucking future in the New West. And so, he bet big like Coppola. He spent his own money on this film. He had to stick it to the producers of Yellowstone and just show them who the boss was, and his movie bombed. And apparently they're not going to release the second one in theaters. So yeah, I'm heavily invested in the kind of Kevin Costner, Green Mountain Coffee. I see all these. It's hard to believe he's still around. I guess it's part of his appeal. Is he's sort of like one of the last of the real movie stars from a time before the genie was let out of the bottle, and now everybody can be famous for just fucking miming goddamn music on TikTok, or doing something mildly amusing for like 3 seconds. You're Hawk Tua. Okay. Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, I just bounced my new vlog, so I'll be uploading it. Maybe I'll just start playing it now, I guess. This literally just is hot off the presses. Oh, I did have this whole. I do want to play my YouTube montage, but that is literally hot off the press. I'm gonna be premiering my new vlog uh, tomorrow, I guess, probably. It's Poetry Week in New York City. It's only appropriate that there be a vlog. Not that there's that much poetry in the vlog. The vlog is more. There's some nice moments. There's some very nice shots. There's some nice sequences. And then it's held together with the ligaments and the tissues of life. The train rides, the walking around, the looking at stuff, the meandering gaze. And we're just trying to make sense of it all. It's election coverage, 2024. We're still living in the past. We're in denial. I told you. I mean, I did predict it. Either in my last stream or the one before that, I did say Biden was not going to back down. And I also said that he had Parkinson's, which I think they're beginning to sort of be more. They're sounding the alarm. I don't know. The higher ups in the DNC, George Clooney is withdrawing his support. That's how you know. George Clooney and Obama were they basically ran. It was like Coen Brothers movies and Obama. That's how we bounced back from the Bush era. We watched Burn After Reading the other night. Like I said, I'll be interspersing kind of film commentary throughout as per usual, because that is such a huge part of my life. I'm just this content zombie. I don't know. I feel like I'm catching up all the films that I've ever wanted to see, and that includes Burn After Reading. I mean, I've been seeing the fucking. It looked amusing. The Brad Pitt thing looked funny. I've seen it in memes for years. Malkovich looked funny, screaming at people. I don't know what he's been up to lately, but Tiger Woods is making a comeback. Kevin Costner is back. Maybe it's time for Malkovich to come back. I gotta say, Burn After Reading, I don't know. I'm sick of movies that are all about suspense and, like, people being followed, people hiding in closets. I guess we've been watching a lot of heist films, but it's just amazing how many fucking movies are just about, inconsequential punches. Violence means nothing in these films. There's no... People kind of like... But pain hurts. Pain drains you. Pain bites away at you. There's no repercussions for any of these action stars. They just keep killing people, keep punching people, keep having fist fights, keep going through tables. This guy sells me eyeglasses. I see his ads a lot. Oh yeah, there he is. Speaking of, hopefully we don't get copyright sniped. I guess I shouldn't have, preordained content in the background. But yeah, so Biden, I don't know. Like I said, we'll be doing 24-hour election coverage through 2024. Who knows? I mean, I would be happy if they put Kamala Harris up. To be honest, I've always been a Kamala supporter. I don't get why people hate her so much. She's a woman of color. Like, that in and of itself, I think would be very significant. First woman president, first woman of color president. That'd be a huge step forward. And she seems, if it's just going to be the same DNC kind of cabal of deep state, if it's Hillary and Obama running shit anyway, while Hunter smokes crack on his laptop, then, let's get somebody in there who's like, I don't know, I feel that would kind of be inspiring, at least for a second, like Obama. Everybody thought Obama was going to be fucking Lenin or something. Karl Marx. Or Bernie Sanders, I guess. And he, we all know how that turned out. He drone strike babies and shit. He kept the wars going. American snipered that shit. He killed Bin Laden. I don't think the Bushes wanted to kill Bin Laden. That was like his cousin. He wanted Bin Laden to go free. But Obama killed his ass. And so with Kamala, it might be but there was a period, where if nothing else, the optics, I think, and just that's progress. That's huge. That would be huge progress. So I would be totally on board with that. I don't get why people hate Kamala Harris. I guess because she's a cop. Nobody's perfect. That should be these politicians' fucking slogan. Nobody's perfect, okay? You take the least damaged, least corrupt. Kamala Harris seems sort of like less corrupt than fucking... And, definitely, she doesn't seem like she has Parkinson's disease. Which is all... I mean, nothing against. I don't mean to be ableist or anything. But, I don't know. Who knows? They're going to have to invoke the 25th Amendment. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. This could be... It could be a power struggle. He might not want to leave. They might push him out. Apparently, they might do some kind of, like, quantum primaries or something. Some kind of, like, super fast primaries. To, like, lightning round a new candidate in. But I'd be fine with Kamala Harris. I don't think they're going to think, what's up? How you doing? You had a health crisis. So, yeah, we're just talking about the Kevin Costner Renaissance. Horizon movie bombed. What else? Yeah, we're talking politics, of course, as usual. Not that it fucking matters. I mean, I don't know. Is there any way out? It seems like that's like what people hope. They hope, because to be honest, all he did was fuck up a debate. I mean, it was pathetic, but like I said, if you've been paying attention to the guy at all, it wasn't really a surprise. And so now people are calling for its head. I guess, it seems kind of like a setup. Like everything in art. I don't know. It's like, put him out there, let him bomb, and then everybody piles on and just says, get this fucking guy out of here. He doesn't want to leave. You know, he's like an old person who doesn't want to stop driving. Because you know that means it's the end. The power vacuum post Trump Biden, how you can find out who's gunning for 28. Yeah, I mean, they both are old. I think people are focused on the Project 2025 now. I've noticed that's more out in the popular narrative. You know, I was hearing about it on TikTok, the Chinese spyware app. You know, I mentioned it weeks and weeks ago, Project 2025. Now it's like in the mainstream media, so people are shitting their pants about, you know, Trump going in and overthrowing the government. And so, I don't know, they each have to create boogeymen on each side. It's like, oh, if Trump goes in, you're going to have a boogeyman, and the right wing has to create boogeymen out of, you know, drag queens that are reading to their kids or whatever. Or they have to ban these books. These people are anti-Christian. So we're just going to be talking politics from here on out. Isn't that just exciting for everybody? Doesn't just people love it? Living in the fucking pundit sphere? Hearing what George Stephanopoulos has to say about every goddamn thing? The Aaron Sorkinization of the Obamaplex, of the Hillary's emails regime that we live under. The deep pizza state. Who the fuck knows? Is Kevin Spacey really the president? Was he framed? Free Kevin... No, fuck Kevin Spacey. I've always thought Kevin Spacey was overrated. I mean, he's an okay actor. But I don't, like... To be honest, like, my grandparents love Kevin Spacey. They don't give a fuck what he did. They're still going to watch Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. They love that shit. They don't care who the fuck what young man he, you know, invited to his after party or whatever. His promiscuous afters. But, I didn't think he was that good of an actor, to be honest. I mean, I think he's good at delivering lines and kind of like, just kind of standing there. He's okay. He's amusing. But, you know, I think he was that... I didn't watch the fucking show, House of Cards. But I think he was that fucking character. Now he's trying to make a comeback. He's getting uncanceled. I guess. I don't know. If they uncanceled Kevin Costner... My friend told me this insane story about Kevin Costner. I don't know if it's true. I don't see how it could possibly be true. But he said somebody he knew in LA went to a party at Kevin Costner's house, and it was like a mansion or whatever, and the party was like all women and Kevin Costner. It was like all attractive women. And to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Hollywood shit, but I did wait on Paul Haggis once, who was the fucking screenwriter and director of the movie Crash, which won an Oscar, and it was the same situation. It was literally Paul Haggis and like 15 like pretty much gorgeous women who wanted to be actors or whatever, who were having dinner with him. So this could have been the situation at Kevin Costner's house. And I don't remember the exact story. I'm missing the kind of finer points of it. But apparently Kevin Costner was just like making out with people kind of like with impunity, just kind of grabbing people and sucking face. That's the kind of guy Kevin Costner is, okay? Wearing his Docker stonewashed khakis and just grabbing women by the you-know-what. Just like, because if you're a celebrity, they let you do it. Oh, that's why we're all trying to become celebrities. No, I'm just kidding, okay? It's we're just sorting through this dirty culture full of bad, dirty people doing dirty things, and they should be canceled. And, yeah, so I'm optimistic. You know, the idea that Biden might be removed kind of makes me optimistic. I'm like, okay, maybe it's all bullshit. Maybe it's just pro wrestling theatrics of politics and Washington business as usual. Maybe it's Dave, that movie with Kevin Kline. So they pulled a switcheroo with the old bastard. It's King Lear is what it is, okay? We got this wandering senile fuck out on the heath. The wind is blowing. He's got no pants on. He's shitting his pants at D-Day, disrespecting our veterans. He's And we're stuck with the Mad King. We're stuck with the syphilitic old white bastard. Same as it ever was. You know, Russian rulers, what was it? Catherine the Great was killed by like fucking a horse or whatever. You know, so we got a long way to go. You know, we got a long way to fall off. I mean, everybody talks about, oh, it's the Roman Empire and the empire's collapsing. It's like, come on. You know, I mean, we haven't had a first lady be, you know, killed, crushed to death while she's fucking a horse through some kind of like pulley system to get the horse. I mean, so it's not. Let's try to be optimistic. You know, I think people try to be optimistic about Biden, but now there is there is kind of a vocal percentage. The next Argentina will, I think that's what they want, right? That's basically what I feel like they're doing here. You know, they did all these experiments in South America, Central America, where they overthrew the fucking government and installed these sort of hyper free market capitalist economies. That's where they tested all this shit out, and now they just start doing it here. You know, they're subtly, that's what Project 2025 is, really, is they're just subtly, it's just one side of the government is doing it a little faster than the other. You know, the Democrats are still kind of just selling everything piecemeal to corporations, to fucking privatization. You know, like City of Chicago sold their fucking parking meters. I'm sure people have heard about this. This happened like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. I think it was a Rahm Emanuel thing, or whoever the fuck that was, Ari Emanuel or whatever. The one that wasn't a super agent, portrayed by Jeremy Piven in the series Entourage. The one who worked for Obama. I think they sold the fucking meter, the parking meters in Chicago. They sold the rights of them for like 60 years or some shit, forever. And they made the money back. They sold it to, you know, some kind of overseas. We're owned by overseas interests. I don't know if you know that, you know, but I think that's why we're pissed off at as Americans, because we've been sold out by Pelosi and NAFTA and Schumer and privatization of every goddamn thing. And okay, this is something I wanted to talk about. I've been watching these YouTube videos. Why are there no great writers anymore? This is sort of related. Just the way our country's been gutted and sold for fucking parts. You know, we've been just... America fell off the truck. You know, America just... It's like some mafia guys stole it... and they're selling it at like cost, because they, you know, it's hot. It's hot off the truck. The U.S. economy, hot off the truck. The U.S. government. They privatize the profits. They socialize the losses. It's corporate welfare. So, okay, yeah, there's no great writers anymore. Okay, I watched a YouTube video about it. Why are there no great writers anymore? And specifically, why are there no great male writers? Why are there no cool, hot, sexy, like chic, you know, male writers anymore? Where's the great male novelists? They were kind of talking about novelists, right? Where's like the great male novelist? Where's the great novelists? You know, even you know, I think a lot of that is publicity for one thing. You know, Jonathan Franzen and David Foster Wallace and who was Dave Eggers. They had a publicity machine, you know, they were in Maxim magazine or GQ or Esquire, in addition to being in critical reviews and major publishing, major distribution. I mean, I do think that to some extent men just aren't reading as much. I mean, this is the girl's video was largely about statistics and the difference between the amount of men who read and women, and how that has I don't think. I mean, these magazines have all become like vanity projects for like sort of elite coteries that pay attention to them. And you know, one thing that really has worked for these magazines is their pivot to like social media content. Like I do think like Vogue, Vanity Fair, Architectural Digest, they all have really excellent fucking YouTube content. I know that sounds like fucking nerdy as hell to say, but like I think that 73 questions that Vogue does is like, I think it's actually really incredible. I think it's like very inventive and like very creative filmmaking. Maybe that sounds insane. Or like Vanity Fair, a lot of like they'll get actors talking about breaking down their parts or whatever. GQ does that. It's like I don't know how many people are reading the fucking magazines, but like they do have a sort of an audience with their brand through YouTube, and I see it kind of recycled through TikTok and whatnot. And you know, they're being disrupted and they're having to adapt like every goddamn thing. You know, it's just our lives are being transferred through the fucking smartphone now and through the screen now. And so I mean with publishing, uh yeah. Well, like Vogue, like you know, it's very well shot. The cinematography is nice. The lighting is nice. The colors are nice. You know, it's like they rehearse it. They have nice camera moves. Like, you know, GQ will get fucking Al Pacino and Robert De Niro sitting with each other, or like Hollywood Reporter does these like actors round tables where they get fucking Tom Hanks and Denzel and De Niro and Adam Driver and shit. So it's like it's actually an amazing time, I think. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think a lot of the male novelists are podcasters. I know everybody hates men with fucking microphones and podcasting, and it's the worst goddamn scourge of, you know, mansplaining irritation. Myself included, I'm a proud vodcaster here. I'm a video DJ like Jerry Todd. But we're pioneering the mansplanation economy, okay? People are hungry to be mansplained and have their ear talked off by daddy. That's, I mean, look at Rogan. Rogan is like deep thoughts for Cro-Magnon, Jim Bro, psychedelic explorers. You know, we all want to discuss the mystery, and I do love that. You know, that's a receptacle for thinking and for your opinions and for literary matter in a way. It's not the same as writing a novel. I mean, I think to some degree there isn't a market. It's kind of that simple, actually. I mean, men are playing video games online. They're still playing GTA 5 waiting for fucking GTA 6 to come out. You know, it's like they're jacking off to internet porn. They're not reading. They don't know how to read. These men do not know how to. It's that simple, okay? These men do not know how to read. That's why I make my poetry as stupid as and puerile and sophomoric as I do, because I'm trying to appeal to the idiocracy. Well, I mean, it's a Whitman thing, right? Great poets need great audiences. I mean, so statistically, women are more educated. Women read for pleasure more. I think, you know, not to generalize, but it does seem to me. I mean, look at the poetry open mics and stuff. It's like, it's a lot of smart women who really care about literature and who really care about writing and who get a lot out of it. You know, it's very rich. It's very detailed. It's, you know, there's a depth of feeling that you go into. You know, when you read, it's a mind meld. It's a wormhole. You know, it is like going down this fucking well or something, as a psycho, you know, psychonautically. It's almost like tripping in a way, you know. It's or a hypnosis. There is like this state that you enter, and a focus. Your brain probably shifts into some other kind of, you know, wavelength or chakra or whatever you want to call it, color frequency. And I don't know. I think probably that you know, women have always been one of the prime, you know, makers and consumers of literature. Fucking they, you know, Jane Austen, whatever the fuck it is. It's like women have always read for pleasure at home, whatever. It's a um you know, it's a domestic activity. Now men have flat screen TVs and Alienware computers and gadgets and fucking, you know, there's a lot more things competing for your attention. You don't have to read a fucking novel anymore, so why should you? I mean, if I look at, okay, like my dad and my brother, right? Those are people that would read, and they have read. Like when they were in high school, they read a little bit. My brother read a Kurt Vonnegut novel. You know, like he's a smart, you know, he's a smart intellectual type person. He's got opinions and sort of kind of a brain that works, that like he might have been a writer, or he definitely probably would have read more 150 or 200 years ago. And now they watch fucking movies all the time. You know, they watch fucking action movies, and they fucking listen to music, and so, and they play, you know, my brother plays video games and shit. It's like they're not fucking reading. There's a lot more action out there. There's a lot more excitement, or just easier. It's just easier. I don't know. It's automated. You know, reading is something that really takes effort. It's like working out. It's not a passive activity. You really have to like pedal the fucking bicycle, and right, like it's also just like an Adam Curtis, or what's the guy, Mark Fisher thing, where it's like we live in an era where it's just like impossible to concentrate to some degree. You know, it's just like there's so much fucking stimulation. There's so many bite-sized kind of fucking. Yeah, I used to do that. I mean, that was something that we had to do in my fucking workshop in undergrad. That was something Henri Cole made us do. He made us memorize a poem, which, you know, at the time was like. Now I can see the importance of that more, because that is a kind of you know, there's a labor that goes into it. Repeating it, you have to learn every fucking syllable. It's hard. And but also you're carrying it with you. Now it's like ain't nobody got time for that. I think people should work on that kind of stuff. I think we're probably going to have to be more conscientious about doing that kind of stuff, memorizing. I mean, I would say that like a lot of the things that I write, I read them to the point of, yeah, there you go. The frontal lobe of the brain is shrinking in people because of the screen. People don't memorize things. Yeah, they don't even. You don't even memorize any of the shit that you would have to used to know, right? Now you just Google it. Your whole like warehouse capacity in your fucking mind of just like trivia or learning how to do things is kind of just like outsourced. And for poetry, you know, that's one reason why I write the way I do, is because we do have this kind of infinite capacity to publish things online or record them online, get them out to people, make them kind of like, and it's also just like a way of, I don't know, remembering all that stuff and turning it into something actually inside you by turning it into language. And you know, oftentimes I'll carry a phrase in my head before writing it down, or like I was saying, it's like a lot of times I will read stuff so much or work it over so much that you have it memorized. You know, like there's a lot of my things that like
I don't necessarily have it memorized by rote, but it wouldn't necessarily take me a lot of work to get it memorized. One of the last places where I did memorization was like music. You know, that was one of the things that when I was in this band Holy Smokes was disciplined about it and was hard about it. And one of the reasons why I haven't written any songs in like 10 fucking years is because there's a point where you have to memorize your own song. And like memorizing your own lyrics, deciding which ones are the right ones, that uh, takes a little bit of work. You know, memorizing takes work. You have to go over it and over and over it. You know, like I had some lines of like Wallace Stevens memorized. Fucking, I had some John Keats. I used to know Bright Star. And, you know, I still kind of know little bits and pieces of it. Um, that was one reason why I love doing plays. And one of the things I still find kind of magical about plays, even as we've pivoted to sort of this documentary reality show kind of narrative, uh, you know, world that we're in, like, plays are still a place where actors like have to fucking memorize their lines. And that's not easy to do. Like, you're internalizing it, you're digesting it. It's becoming a part of you in like a physical way. Almost like a seed or something. And that's why I loved doing plays when I was younger. It was like, it was as much a literary fucking, you know, activity as it was like a theater activity, because it's like yeah, you should read Picasso at Lapine Agel by Steve Martin. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Theater is very, it's like poetry adjacent to you, or it's more like poetry's like, I don't know, family. It's like if poetry was if there was a family of poets, it would be like a theater thing, because it's like a gathering. It really is just a poetry reading. Like if you go see a fucking Shakespeare play, you're really just going to a poetry reading. It's just he split the lines up into all these different people and all these different characters and whatnot that are sort of like metaphors or symbolic or working on different levels. And the actors all are kind of, you know, they have their little job where they carry their little piece of the language, their little piece of the story. And you know, things are just shifting so much with the goddamn phones, and like you're saying, like the outsourcing of your fucking frontal lobe and the nature of memory and shit like that, that it's like these kind of things, you know, writing poetry, reading it to other people, doing plays, writing plays, memorizing fucking, you know, one of my favorite things about that in college, my professor was saying, as Yabarobi was saying, they used to have like a folk kind of belief that like if you were in a shipwreck and you didn't have any poetry memorized, you would go down with the ship. But if you had like poetry, it would keep you afloat, it would keep you alive. That was one of the things that really first turned me onto poetry. I thought, well, that sounds pretty good. That sounds like something you should have. You know, you should have memorized. I wish I could be one of these kind of fucking pretentious douchebags that you can just rattle off, you know, Shakespeare or like fucking um you know, lines of Browning or whatever, but I'm not that guy. I think it's pretentious to memorize poetry, to be honest. I don't want to be this guy that's like, "Oh, let me do this." You know, I used to have Wordsworth shit memorized. Yeah, there's this monologue from Picasso at Lapine Agile. It's an art dealer. It's pretty good. I don't know. There's shitloads of amazing monologues. Um, I mean, that might not be a bad place to start, but you may even write your own. Oh yeah, we got the Wind Up Mice, everybody. It's Poetry Week in New York. Wind Up Mice launches. Is this the first place you can get it? Probably. There's a reading Saturday morning, 12:30 p.m. At what stage is it on? Algonquin. 12:30 p.m. Wind Up Mice, hosted by Ashley. It's going to be very chic, of course. Okay, Ashley. And so don't miss that. And then we will be. Ashley, don't scare people out of my live stream. Free Matt Proctor. Free Matt Proctor. I want t-shirts that say Free Matt Proctor. All right. Love you too, Ashley. That's my big slogan. That's my big campaign for the summer. Free Matt Proctor, okay? Come to New York City Poetry Festival. There's going to be free Matt Proctor. You know, I know that's what everybody... yeah, I just said that, Ashley. Simmer down. Simmer down. It's just a joke, okay? It's just a joke. Like everything I do, it's a bit. I know you're not living in bit reality anymore, but I still live in bit consciousness, okay? Everything's just a bit to me, okay? I can't get out of these bits, okay? Okay, love you, Ashley. Yeah, we're talking about why there's no great writers anymore. There's no great male writers. There's no great writers. There's no great novelists. I mean, yeah, I do think that it's such a, you know, there has been such a rapid transformation and just like competition for our consciousness and where our attention goes. Something like sustaining writing a novel really require. I mean, having an internet connection, having a Wi-Fi connection, is like pretty detrimental to trying to write a really rich. I mean, Ashley's novel is coming out, I'm sure, probably next year. I think I think first of all, it's ridiculous to say that there aren't great novelists. People are looking for like these English program kind of names, Hemingway, Fitzgerald. It's like there's tons of people out there writing interesting stuff. They're probably not famous. And then there's even people that are famous that are kind of doing work that people acknowledge or think is like big, you know, like I don't know, Catherine Lacey. A lot of people liked her last book. That Rachel Kushner book, The Flamethrowers, people talk about. Sally Rooney is everywhere. I mean, if you want to talk about men, I mean, there's Tao Lin. There's fucking Scott McClanahan. People like you know, these are not necessarily people that I am like Yahoo. These are the great writers, but like there are definitely. I just don't think we live in the publishing world. You see it if you live in New York City. You see it. It's just not as powerful as it was. You know, these magazines, these publishing houses are scrambling. Like I was saying, it was like, you know, most books do not sell 1,000 copies. Most books on fucking there's a monologue about selling paintings. There are only two kinds of paintings I can't sell. I don't know if it's going to be, it's just the first thing that I came to my mind. There are only two kinds of paintings I can't sell. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, Cormac McCarthy's first few books didn't sell hardly any copies either. So, I mean, that's the other thing with literature is, you know, for better or for worse, like, it does take time for these things to sort themselves out. And I would say there very much is like a literary scene. You know, there is like, because of Twitter, I would say, and Tumblr and shit like that, I think it is like hip and glamorous to be a writer, at least in these kind of elite circles. Maybe the, you know, the unwashed masses, the basket of deplorables, they're just eating nuclear Doritos and drinking Monster Energy drink and watching the X Games and playing Skate 3 or whatever the fuck. Driving, you know, cyber trucks. But, like for people in Dime Square or whatever, for people that are like already models and went to boarding school or whatever the fuck, to them it's kind of sexy to be a writer. I mean, does anybody stand out, and is anybody writing like, I think Ashley's book will be good. I think it will. I think it really will tell a relevant story about the modern age and young people, and it's well made. Ashley, I'm just fucking discussing it. We're just unpacking it, okay? That's what I do. I just unpack things, okay? I'm talking about male models. I'm not talking about female models. I'm talking about male models. Everybody in Dime Square looks like a male model. They all look like Daniel Day-Lewis meets, I really want Instagram Chad filter. I want that kind of face. I want an Instagram Chad filter face. A million beers, whatever that trend is. I'll give you a million beers. Okay, Ashley, enough already. Stop spamming my chat. Okay? There's no Village Voice anymore. I mean, the New York Review of Books. Is Ben Lerner the great, is Ben Lerner the great male novelist? I mean, is 1004? Okay, Ashley, you're daddy's model. Okay? Can we get a moderator to remove this person from the chat? They're insane. This is absolutely illegal on the internet. You cannot do that on the internet. I feel like just automatically they should kick you out of the chat for just typing the same thing over and over again. No one is making you scream. I'm just discussing literature. That's what I do, okay? Okay. Anyway, models are some of the few people that can afford to live in goddamn New York City now. It's one of the last jobs there is. If you're tall enough and weird looking enough, memorable looking enough. We're serving cunt, all right? That's what we're doing this weekend on Governor's Island. We will be serving cunt all weekend. So come out to Wind Up Mice on Saturday. We will be serving cunt. And then Sunday, I will be on the White Horse stage hosting. I cannot believe what I'm seeing in the chat. The level of discourse in the chat has absolutely descended into a new low. Yeah, so who are I mean, is Ben Lerner the great novelist? That's the thing, is I don't think people are actually, most people that are like book talk or like literary quoted, or like apparently now every like movie star has a book club. Like Reese Witherspoon has a book club, and Kaya Gerber has a book club, and like it's just a way of art washing their influence. And people think reading is going to save the world. People think reading is going to stop the fascism. And I think that a lot of the rich people are going to be the only ones who have time to read and who are educated enough to read. They're going to be reading The Economist or The Wall Street Journal, or I don't know. I mean, when you can vacuum the world just moves so fast now. And there's so many different things to speculate about, to wonder about, to discuss, that it feels like novels just don't move fast enough. Like if you were to write something, it's just like, I don't know. I don't, first of all, I just don't buy this. I think that Okay, Ashley, your writing is fast paced. It's true. That is true. And Ashley is my hot model. Okay, everybody. I'm just gonna say that. I feel like some kind of Syrian hostage that's being fed lines in the teleprompter. You have to say this, or else we're gonna punish you behind the scenes. Yeah, there you go. Write a monologue, do 100. I mean, where first of all, where are the readers? You know, I think that there are writers out there. I think that's one of the great discoveries of the internet is like blogs, Twitter, Substack, and not only that, but I saw this thing the other day about how trying to be funny has been destigmatized, and more people are trying stand-up comedy. There's less of like a fear factor maybe, and like sort of a cringe factor or something about trying to be a stand-up comedian. And I think the internet, now everybody has got their hat in the ring about, hey, what the fuck, I'll play my guitar on the internet. Hey, I'll do weird characters on the internet. Hey, I'll dance, I'll throw ass on the internet. You are really distracting me in the comments. I mean, is that really necessary? It's just insane what you're doing. I said that, okay? I already repeated whatever the fuck it is you're trying to prove. So for the love of God, how do I get a moderator in this chat? Can I just permanently block Ashley? I want a lifetime ban on Ashley D. Escobar. For crying out loud. You cannot behave this way in my chat. I'm trying to rant about there's no readers. So, okay, so there's, everyone is an entertainer now. They're monetizing our attempts at having a career in show business, essentially. And, there's always serious people writing novels, thinking about it. I don't know where the fuck they are. Where's the Don DeLillo? Is it Atticus Lynch? Or whatever, Lish? Is it Atticus Lish? Is it some kind of New York tyrant author? Who's the Jay McNerney? Who's the fucking Bright Lights Big City? Is it Fuckboy by Sean Thor Conroe or whatever? I'm confirming, Ashley. Yes, I'm confirming. Yes, whatever the hell you just said. Look, we're facing a competency crisis. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore. Nobody knows how to write anything. All we know is cunt and fucking DoorDash. All people do know is copy and paste like their DMs, and that's like their novel. It's like, oh, here's my new experimental novel. It's like, it's just my tweets. I just publish my tweets, or like my fucking AIM or whatever it is, Facebook messages. I like how Ashley's book strikes a balance between the contemporary and more kind of traditional classical stuff. You only said my writing thing was true. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, you're just splitting hairs here with your ridiculous. People are seeing me be cucked on the internet. I will not be cucked on my own live stream. All right. You're a star. You're a star. You're a big, beautiful fucking star. You are. Ashley is my hot model. Okay, everybody. We go to the beach. We tan. We look hot, even though I'm hefty, and I've gained weight from all the good eating. I'm just healthy. That's all. Don't body shame me, okay? I'm just eating good. That's not a crime. Anyway, I'm talking about the death of literature. Men don't care. They're playing Xbox. They're playing Call of Duty. Okay. Yes, go to sleep now. Yes. I acknowledge that. I sign off on that, and good night. Okay. Um, yeah, so, autofiction was the craze. I don't necessarily hear people say autofiction. I haven't heard it in a while. Yeah, I'll see you Friday. Um, the whole nature of fiction, I think, has transformed over the last. I said I was gay. I've told Ashley many times that I'm gay. She doesn't believe me. I've told Ashley many times that I am a gay man. I culturally identify as a gay man. I seem to have the interests of a gay man. I love poetry and beauty and painting and cinema and what is it? Venus as a boy, right? So I culturally identify as a gay man. And I had a line in my poetry recently. I'm going to say this. It might offend some people. It'll probably set Ashley off, but I'm going to say it anyway because that's my job as a First Amendment, Abby Hoffman style, yippee, East Village dirtbag. I am gay for pussy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said it. I'm sorry I said it. I know that's controversial. I know it'll probably be clipped. And, all right. Love you, Ashley. You're my hot model, okay? I love opera. I've only been to the opera once, but I absolutely loved it. I would go back. Like Frank O'Hara. I would do everything Frank O'Hara does, basically. I love witty repartee. Well, I'm also just super interested in, like, pop culture type stuff, blind items. I love reading blind items in Page 6. Well, okay, not to generalize, but I do think gay men, and this is maybe a literary difference. Gay men have like an attention to detail and like just a professionalism, a way of getting things done. I mean, it's not, you know, most of the poets throughout history were gay. And that's not anything new. A lot of the best writers, most of the best writers probably are gay. Shakespeare, right? And, so there's like an audience of readers, there's an audience of writers, there's an audience who appreciates like high art, refined, sophisticated, like it's part of the homophobia in our culture, I would say, that like these are gay, to like opera, to like ballet, like Frank O'Hara. It's like, oh, you're gay. You work at the MoMA. You like modern art, like you like poetry. Holy shit. You write poetry. That's why I think stand-up comedy is kind of poetry for like the homophobic. For repressed homosexuals. That's basically what I've got at not Billy Lamont. I feel bad dragging Billy Lamont into the thing on Sunday because not that everybody's amazing, but I want him to do whatever, a great job. I know he's going to be great. I love his work. I love his performance. And I want him to feel respected. I want him to feel like he's dragged into like this blue-collar comedy tour thing. But I think it's going to be interesting. And I think we're all repressed homosexuals, basically. Men with aesthetic sense. I think poetry gets you more into the nitty-gritty of experience and detail and phenomena, consciousness kind of referral. I served in the Navy in World War II, exactly. The Navy is like, well, one of the village people was in KGB the other day for Pride. The cowboy was at the Red Room. The original cowboy. I mean, I'm obsessed with the village. I'm obsessed with the West Village. I am a village person. There's the cowboy, the Indian, the cop, the open mic host. Doing the YMCA, I would live in the YMCA. So I don't know. To be honest, like the people who have been the best to me in New York City are like gay men. Not to generalize, but like, they've given me good jobs and they've been nice to me. Ashley, yes. What do you want me to say? Edward Gorey, exactly. I love going to the Hamptons. I'd like to live with Joseph Lasser. Well, so I don't know. This is like something, there's been a lot of work for women about like, you know, women are very modern. I think that is what's exciting about this era in this time is like, all of this feminine energy has been released and women have really taken the reins culturally. Maybe there's not that many great male novelists, but I do think there's a lot of very strong women writers and women readers. What do you want me to say, Ashley? Good night. Good day to you, sir. The men have been left behind, is what I'm saying. Men have been left the fuck behind. They left us. They were happy about it, because So anyway, I think a lot of men probably do have like a literary side. That's one thing that I'm kind of trying to tap in with this thing on Sunday. Get people to read poetry who, to me, that's a huge win. Is to like to not that these guys weren't writing poetry before. I'm sure they were, but like to get them to share it, to get them to think about it. I think that's, bringing poetry into people's lives that don't have it and actually getting it to mean something. I think that is it's one of the jobs. Poets often talk to each other and talk to themselves, and they have to, because they're the only ones who kind of understand each other. What do you want, Ashley? Good night. Good night, Ashley. Good night. I'm acknowledging whatever your message is and wishing you sweet dreams, okay? As I lecture about, I think there are great, people should buy my fucking books, What do you think I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to get lionized by the New York media so everybody in the rest of the country thinks that I'm some kind of literary giant. The great American... Say what? I love you, Ashley. Good night. Okay? Good night, Ashley. Good God. I need a restraining order. How do I get a restraining order? Does anybody know any good lawyers? How does one go about doing that? For my evidence, I submit my chat. My chat transcript of my live stream. So, I don't know. I mean, they don't want people to think. They don't want people to, reading helps you think. They don't want people with critical thinking skills. They don't want... I mean, is literacy that important? I'm not sure. I've been all kind of gung-ho about bringing literary kind of content onto YouTube, onto TikTok, shit like that. At open mic, try to mix it up with comedy stuff, mix it up with music stuff. What do you want, Ashley? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What is it? This has got to stop. Okay? This is bullying, abusive behavior, and everybody is seeing it. It's ugly. I'm sick of showing this ugliness to people. It's very uncomfortable for people to watch this stuff. Okay? I didn't bring anything up. I'm just talking about what I want to talk about. And you are insane and trying to censor me and trying to silence my truth. You can go to sleep anytime you want. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to get dragged into the mud. Okay? What do you want me to say? Okay? Just tell me so I can say this and you can go to sleep so we can move on. And I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. Good night, Ashley. Good night. Good night. All right, what the hell else do we need to talk about? I mean, you know, uh, okay, I'm not even going. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about PTI and around the horn. I know this is like a great. What, Ashley? What do you want me to say? I do not know what you want me to say. Okay. You're just saying please, please. I don't know what you want me to say. No, I cannot see what you're typing. You stopped my whole shit. You've derailed my whole shit for this. Probably censoring it, yes, because you're insane. Because you behave in an insane way. You can't do that on the internet. The algorithm, the AI, even the AI is like, this is insane. We can't put this. We cannot put this on the stream. It's too fucking insane. I mean, yeah, so I don't know. To some degree, I do think men have been left behind. But who reads anymore? You know, men read fucking science fiction and shit. They read George R. Martin. I'm not gay. It was a fucking joke. Okay? It was I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that was insensitive. No one has a sense of humor about these things. You can't say anything anymore. Okay, all I made was an insensitive joke about how I'm gay. Okay? I'm gay for Ashley's you know what, okay? I'm not going to say the word again. I'm not going to say the word again, okay? I'm not going to say the word again, all right? I am not going to say it. So that's what YouTube was censoring? You were typing, say I'm gay for PUSSY? And YouTube was censoring it, wow. But they let you do all that other insane spamming. It's crazy. It's crazy. They really need to get their shit together over at YouTube, okay? This is unacceptable. Okay, well, anyway. That's hilarious. Okay, yeah, I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. There's invisible. So people might be all commenting all kind of foul things in the chat that I'm not seeing. Yeah, I can't wait to see the Wind Up Mice issue. Once again, everybody, come out to New York City Poetry Festival this weekend. I did my training today. I had to watch all these videos. I got onboarded as a host. And hey, here's one thing I will say. They told me if anybody doesn't show up, I can put people on stage. So if you want to read, and you come to the White Horse stage and somebody doesn't show up, I might put you on stage. So come out, I mean, Ashley will definitely be, well, you're the stage manager. So, well, they said I can read my poetry and then I can put people on stage. So I will probably do some reading and then Ashley's going to be the stage manager. Thank you to Ashley. She's helping out. Okay, see you Friday. And I will have my fucking zines. I'll have War Commercial. I'll have Central Park. I encourage people to go back and watch the Central Park video from last summer. It's like 3 hours long. It's a long, hot summer video. It's it's just a film as big as the sky, and just sit there and just be immersed in it. Just get washed into. I'm gonna try to maybe live stream the festival. I'm definitely gonna film it, so it will be on my YouTube page. There will definitely be in fact, if you go on this YouTube page, I've got practically every fucking New York Poetry Festival reading I've ever done. I've got like everything going back to like 2018 or something. So, yeah, I'll film yours on Saturday. I'll probably just film a bunch of it and upload a bunch of different stuff. And, I will film Sunday. I'll be hosting on Sunday on this stage, so I'll be there the whole day doing my bullshit. Really, I want to make it kind of quieter and more. I want to draw people in with like food for thought rather than loud, trying to get applause and shit, and energy. We're on a good stage, so okay, love you, Ashley. We're on a good stage, so you know, should be it's always a fun surf and wind in your hair. Riding the fucking skiff over there through the Scud to Governor's Island. We're supposed to do land acknowledgments. There's going to be a lot of land acknowledgments, so get ready for that. Okay, we'll let you know Friday. I have to do another live stream before Friday, so I'm either going to do it tomorrow or Friday. Stay tuned for that, people. But we're just getting started. I mean, Ashley was on the ferry today. Oh, that's nice. I mean, ferries are probably the best way to get around New York, to be honest. Taking the ferry to Rockaway is definitely the best way to get there. I'm sure that secret is out, but if you haven't taken the ferry from Manhattan to Rockaway Beach, do yourself a favor, do it immediately, because it is an amazing way better than taking the A train, through the fucking, tunnels forever. Oh, you went to Ulysses on Stone Street, huh? I like Stone Street. I like that whole downtown area, to be honest. I would totally, if there were like cool venues in like the fucking financial district, I would definitely go there. Like, I love that's the European part, really, of New York. That's like the old, kind of walkable seaside town or whatever. Trading post, port, with all the winding streets and kind of high, narrow. I mean, Stone Street is very cool. But it's out of the way, and I don't know. Do people ever do events there? Is there some kind of like DIY fucking cool ass venue? Like, I mean, New York Poetry Festival is like, yeah. Well, that's one of the nice things about taking the ferry is like when I was there with my brother, we took the ferry back and we walked through that whole area, Wall Street and all those little streets, whatever the fuck, Water Street, whatever the hell they're called. I think the after party's at the Francis Tavern. I don't know if I should say that publicly, but we are invited to the after party on Saturday. So, if you want to do that, I don't know if you want to, I know how you hate socializing with other people. Talking to the sun at Fire Island. Yeah, so, yeah, come check. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna read. I've been trying to write. Well, the thing is, I didn't write for a couple weeks because I spilled sauce on my notebook. Okay, Fire Island, that could work. I spilled sauce on my notebook when we went to the beach in June, and that kind of like discouraged me from writing for some reason. My notebook smelled like this kind of weird Russian barbecue sauce or whatever it is. You have a car? I can drive. I'm an excellent driver. I have a license and everything. I am legally able to drive, and I love driving. If anybody in New York City has a car and they need me to drive them anywhere, I love driving. I mean, I don't love it, but, it's nice to go places for free. That's the only way I'm able to go places, if it's for free. All right, Jones Beach is actually very nice. My buddy took us out to Jones Beach. I've never been to Fire Island, though. I would do that. Whatever you want to do. But Jones Beach is very nice. They have the white sand. I heard Long Beach. I think that's what it's called. I heard Long Beach is like one of the nicest beaches in America. They said it was like one of the fourth nicest beach in the fucking whole country. But I think the LIRR goes there. I'd be down to explore all that shit. I really want to get into Long Island. I just want to get into New York beach culture. Long Island, Hamptons, Jersey Shore. We got to go to Jersey Shore. Be part of the Jersey Poetry Renaissance. New York just doesn't... The publicity machine is looking the other way. There are great writers amongst us, every fucking place. And they're not these kind of like socially mute, super demure, alt-lit people that have gotten all the attention. I mean, Tao Lin is okay, but I don't know. It just seems like he hates life. And I don't know. It's like his Twitter is so trite. What was the thing he was saying the other day about, he had this tweet about Breezy Point. Okay, yeah, I've heard Breezy Point. My page, all right, sick. Tao Lin had this tweet about how fireworks are bad because they scare animals and shit, which is true. I agree with them, but it's also like, do I really need fucking Tao Lin to like lecture me about this? I don't know. Is that the greatest novel of our generation? The millennial Bret Easton Ellis? Is that what he would do? Yeah, I don't know. It just, to me, the publishing industry is not there, or like the people that they push. I mean, particularly the book that came up during my lifetime. I remember those N+1 guys all kind of got a push, and that guy Chad Harbuck had a book called The Art of Fielding, which was about baseball. And so, he had the kind of pedigree, Eastern Seaboard, Ivy League shit. Or, that other guy, I think he's married to Emily Gould. What's his name? He started N+1. He's got a book called Al the Sad Young Literary Men. Keith Jessen. Those guys had a few novels that were like, literary Eastern Seaboard kind of white guys writing novels about being literary. It's like, I just don't know if that's acceptable. That's certainly not really the zeitgeist anymore. It's like, not to harp on like being bitter about woke or anything, but like kind of was the express, literature became like health food and like an ethical consumption. And like I said, people thought if they read, they're like fighting fascism or whatever. And so, all right, sweet dreams, Ashley. Not that they aren't, but I don't know. And so it was like nobody wanted to read anything by white guys at all. That was like expressed. People said that. It was like a rule. Nobody wanted to hear anything from white guys, you know? And so it's like, well, okay, where are all the male novelists? It's like, you don't want to read any men. And, okay, I also think it's a working class thing. Like these working class blue collar jobs, something like Charles Bukowski or beat literature, or even, the kind of serious novels that people may have been reading in the 50s and 60s, Hemingway shit, or Faulkner, or I don't know, Norman Mailer, to read a bunch of misogynistic. It was all like, guys had jobs, they had free time to do what they wanted, they would read, you know, uh, they were educated to some degree. It was like Bukowski is sort of like, oh, well, yeah, John Updike. I mean, there's a lot of fucking good, right? I mean, who does the New Yorker publish? Who's their favorite fucking like male? It's Ben Lerner, probably. If there's like a millennial white guy that the New Yorker like has published, it's Ben Lerner, I would say. But it was like, all the white guys who were successful sort of went into this kind of witness protection, like fucking Adam Fitzgerald or whatever. And just, you had to, I don't know. And so it's a market thing. I think people's idea of what literary is super corny. I do think there's a lot of interesting current, semiotics, a lot of what they publish. I haven't read that fuckboy book, but it seemed interesting. I really don't like stuff that has like a highfalutin, fake literary like diction, like Scott McClanahan, shit that pretends to be like Faulkner, like some kind of southern, or like Cormac McCarthy, people trying to be Cormac McCarthy. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are annoying about, but Sam Pink, I don't know. You have to like become some kind of weird identity cartoon to like get people's attention. Like Sam Pink is like, oh, he's from. They're super. I don't know. Or Bud Smith. You know, Bud Smith is like this kind of caricature of like blue collar. He's like a construction worker. His name is fucking Bud Smith. It's like that's like an identifiable. I don't know. A lot. You know, there's sort of like a micro culture on like Twitter where there are like a bunch of people that like really care about like what's cool in literature. To me, it doesn't always line up with like good writing. You know, to me, when I read something like Don DeLillo, it's like the proof is in the pudding. Like, this is incredibly like rewarding. It's incredibly like high level thinking. The sentences are all like delivering. It's telling a story. There's a reason why he's doing it. There's a philosophy behind it. You know, Samuel R. Delany said this thing about the novel is like the best place to talk about like society and like and like maybe sort of portray some kind of like version of how you think it should be, or just like your version of how you think it works. You can do that in a novel. You can world build and show all these different characters and different strata and go into all these different places and whatnot. You know, I just think having time and energy, you know, and all it's like that's all fucking long form television shows now. Everybody's a fucking screenwriter. You know, it's like everything is, you know, people are spending it all in these little spurts like fucking, yeah, Wayne Kalsenbaum is incredible. Oh, there's tons of amazing. Thomas Pynchon is still alive, absolutely. You know, we're spending it all like these little fucking spurts, posts, readings, live streams, TikTok videos. You know, it's like there's a lot of people who are serious about fiction. They're probably all fucking MFA professors, and they're all probably reading each other's books and tracking each other's success. But I mean, is there like a Jonathan Franzen, like, you know, mass market? Obama's reading the fucking book, like, you know, Walmart hardcover out there. Like, I just don't think that that has been the market. You know, they don't. People have it's. They want to. If that's Sally Rooney, you know, or that's Otessa Moshfegh or whatever. You know, a lot of her books. Like, there are definitely books that I hear people talk about, and like they're in the cultural, especially in New York, where people are super cognoscenti and hip and care about this shit. You know, I would say that, you know, the people that I see at open mics and people like Ashley or people that I see about at Poetry Project, those are the people that are doing really interesting fucking cutting edge stuff. I mean, Hannah Black's book is like a novel. It's unbelievably good. And it's all about the fucking apocalypse, really. I mean, I haven't read Station 49 or whatever, Emily St. John Mandel. It seems a little gentrifiery, NPR white girl to me. Like Patricia Lockwood is like that. Patricia Lockwood is okay. I don't know. They're like, they just deliver kind of a punch. And they're like an e-girl, basically, of Twitter. People just get jobs on Twitter now. It's like if you, like Elisa Gabbard. I mean, Elisa Gabbard is smart in like her criticism and her thinking. But it's like she got she's like the poetry editor of the New York Times. It's like she got all these jobs through fucking Twitter. Because she's super good at Twitter and she's got, you know, I don't even know, 10,000 followers or whatever. I hate that Elon Musk bought Twitter because it's like he bought literature. It's like he bought the entire literary world. To be honest, that is where like the smoke break, teacher's lounge, like, you know, 169 bar conversation of like literature is happening. It's like on fucking Twitter. You know, that's where everybody who's cool, who's trying to be a writer, who's super like demure and stone faced and dresses super chic and is hot and blah blah blah. It's like, I don't know. I don't see a lot of juice in any of this writing. Where's the Gabriel Garcia Marquez? You know, is it Sebastian Castillo? Is it fucking Peach Magazine? You know, I don't know. People do seem to bow before talent. I mean, Ashley is a very good writer. I cannot wait for her novel. I hope they adapt it for fucking, you know, what would be the best streaming? HBO. I think Ashley needs an HBO deal. I think Ashley would be an excellent HBO. I think they should adapt your novel, have a Pepsi disappear. Like I Love Dick, you know, that's what made Chris Kraus is fucking Amazon Prime. There was an era right before Trump, or maybe it was kind of right around Trump. It was like 2016 core. Eileen Miles was dating Jill Soloway, who created that show Transparent. And I think had worked on some other shows. And Jill Soloway was like very hot career-wise in Hollywood. So Eileen Miles was like, right, okay, Ashley, you're hot, chic, and online. Good for you. You're on Twitter. And so there was this, you know, excitement where you thought you just get your, you know, avant-garde literature into Amazon Prime or whatever. And they were writing manifestos and shit. Yeah, Torpor, Chris Kraus. I mean, all the Semiotex stuff, to be honest. Semiotex is probably the best publisher out there, to be honest. If I had to pick one, it might be Semiotex, actually. I mean, probably City Lights, maybe, but Semiotex, I don't know. To be honest, Semiotex publishes pretty much anything they do is pretty interesting, as far as I've seen, you know, and readable. They publish prose that's like very readable, very current, very hip, but like it's smart. It's not totally dead. You know, I find a lot of the alt-lit stuff just, like, very dead. Like, I find Tao Lin, I haven't read that shit in a while, but when I read it, I just found it very dead. And, all right, good night, E-Girl, Ashley. And so I do think there's Nightboat is incredible, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of people in the conversation. I'm definitely not saying that, they stand alone or anything, you know, but Semiotex, particularly since I Love Dick, I think they got a lot of money probably. That's the read that I get on it, is they got this Amazon Prime deal. As far as I can tell, that series didn't really go anywhere, but I think people watched it because I do hear it as part of the cultural conversation. People talk about I Love Dick or whatever. And I went to this event for Kathy Acker at New School when that show came out with Chris Kraus. I didn't know who Chris Kraus was. She came up and started talking to me before it. I didn't know who she was, but that was like, it was so packed. I was like, how do all these people know what this is? It's like, oh, because Amazon Prime, because Semiotex, because Kathy Acker, this, that. And it seems to me like they're repurposing them. I mean, I know Chris Kraus is like a landlord, so that's how she funds Semiotex, is she's a fucking landlord and she gets money from that. That's what I Love Dick is about. She's like running it back and forth between all these fucking rental properties and shit because she bombed out in New York as a, you know, trying to be avant-garde. Everybody in the art world hates her. Just like me. So she had to go to fucking Palm Springs. And they fall in love with this guy, Dick, for whatever reason. I don't know. You know, I guess it's some kind of critique of patriarchy or something. Okay, Ashley is a hot, chic e-girl, okay? And, yeah, so, yeah, there's a lot of publishers in the conversation. Ugly Duckling, I haven't really looked at FSG in a long time, but of the larger presses, FSG was always the best. Um, I don't know. I I was never one of the cool kids, so I've always been kind of on the periphery of all that. I mean, I've never been Twitter. I've had around 300 Twitter followers, literally like the entire time I've had Twitter. I think I've gone from 270 to 320 in like fucking 10 years of tweeting just like this, of just like tweeting my ass off, contenting my ass off. And we're talking literature this week. It's poetry week, so we're talking literature. We're talking, are there great, novelists, poets, whatever. I think the audience likes corny shit. What I have noticed is Barnes and Noble basically changed their entire poetry section. They don't even carry classics anymore, really. They'll have a few, they'll have some Bukowski shit, maybe E. E. Cummings, a little bit of this or that, but now it's all like Instagram poets. Literally, it's like, I kind of find that exciting, actually. You'll find like a table at the Barnes and Noble of just like Instagram poets. There's a lot of them. And it's like, it's because they already have an audience. They know that they can sell that book. It's like, these are the people that are famous. Like if you're fucking some high schooler or whatever, or, I don't know, spend your whole fucking day on, reading bad Instagram, suggested posts or whatever. These are like the famous people to you, the D'Amelios or whatever. I mean, Rupi Kaur is like fucking Bernadette Mayer to them. I always wanted to be like not necessarily an Instagram poet, but like the books that I did publish, my relationship trilogy, my pandemic book, and my New York book that's coming out. Those were always meant to be like viral, capable, or like they were meant to be able to sit on a table with Instagram poetry and with novels. To be honest, I know this is insanely pretentious to say, but to me, those are novels as much as they're anything. They're written in poetry, but, I think people should approach them like, like with all of my pamphlets. It's an ongoing narrative. They're like comic books. They're just like, this is the new episode, this is the new adventures. But you can, then you collect them all, you can read them all in a row, and it forms like, a Dickensian, complex, epic, social portrait of the schematics of, how our society functions, engineering, architecture, social design, economics. We got Adam S. in the house. There's definitely plenty of Ashley references, okay? Ashley is interlaced with everything that I've written for the past practically 2 years. And she's hogged my vlogs. I mean, Ashley has definitely dominated my vlogs. There's hours and hours and hours of Ashley footage where she is front and center. So I hope people like the character of Ashley, because they're certainly getting a lot of the character of Ashley in the Comédie Humaine, kind of Victor Hugo human comedy portrait, in scale. I just want to do portraits of people and portraits of the scene, the panoramic scope, the panoramic expanse. So Poetry Festival, it's it's the gathering of the juggalos for open micers, for the hardcore. So I look forward to seeing everybody, trading literature, our Sammy's pamphlet literature. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for thinking I'm cool and chic. Olga Raven, my work. Okay, that sounds interesting. Thank you for the book suggestions. These are all very good. I've got this book. What is it? Fuck. It's like right over here. It's a semiotics thing. It's got a very cool looking cover. I think it's there's definitely a lot of, not that I read any of this stuff, but there's a lot of ugly books that are being published. I mean, the covers. I don't know what the publisher. This is some kind of like audience market tested design or something that they found that this work. Maybe it works good on Instagram or something, but these books that are being published now are so fucking ugly. The covers are just so formulaic and okay, Ashley. Ash is your muse, clearly. Okay. Ashley's my muzzle. Okay, how many final gun nights are there going to be? Okay, good night, Ashley. Okay. Sweet dreams, Ashley. Everybody say good night, Ashley. Yeah. Adam S., do you think there's any, do you think there's any great American male novelists? What about Chuck Palahniuk? I guess he's old now. I'm just kidding, Ashley. I'm just being witty, okay? Just trying to be witty. Oh, maybe I should move back over to the video screen. Give people something to look at in the background. But I just need to smoke. It takes me forever. I like to romance it. Ashley, I am Ashley's muse. And Ashley is my muse. She is definitely a capable scene partner. Ashley writes great dialogue. And she is an immortal, unforgettable character. Ashley's an unforgettable character. Ashley is Max Fisher come to life. For real. Chuck lost me after Pygmy. Yeah, he probably got too successful or something. He's ruined by success, probably. Hollywood. I don't know. I never actually read any of Chuck Palahniuk. I haven't read anything that I'm talking about for the most part. I read Shoplifting at American Apparel. And, I don't know. There was like the alt-lit scene, sort of before Twitter became like super political all the time. And virtue signaling, kind of like catalog, filing cabinet. Ashley is my hot chic muse, okay? What about David Sedaris, okay? What about David Sedaris? Nobody mentioned David Sedaris in the conversation. They didn't want any male novelists. They did not want male novelists, okay? It was expressly forbidden. No more hot male novelists. No Sam Shepard's. Chad Harbach shit looked corny. The Art of Fielding, it looked like something that dads would like. Dads that went to Yale. Be like, old guys in the publishing industry. Be like, oh, yes, here's a promising young white. Great, that's what they thought literature was white guys who like baseball. And drinking bourbon. All right, good night, Ashley. See you Friday. But now, it is an exciting, there's a lot of exciting literature out there. If you're paying attention, a lot of it's corny. I do want to talk shit about Good Bones. I think Good Bones is white woman gentrifier core. It's all about gentrification. It's about this house is a piece of shit, but it's got good bones, so we can gut renovate it. It's about moving to a neighborhood you shouldn't live in, which is what white women love to do. I'm sorry, Maggie Smith, okay? I had to come for you personally. Well, because that's like the howl of the last 10 years. Is Good Bones. How fucking lame is that? That shows you what the state of literature. I mean, I hope this doesn't sound. It's because it's emailable. It's like what's the most read? Oh, it's the cat person of fucking poetry. It's like, oh, it's the most read New Yorker story ever. It's like, yeah, it's fucking cat person. It's just like. It's Haagen-Dazs, it's like Lonely Girl we're gonna watch fucking Gilmore Girls, or it's Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham took over smart, you know, people culture. It's all like Rookie magazine fucking alumni. They don't like us. Champion Matt Proctor, okay? Free Matt Proctor. My pamphlets, my travel novels, my vlogs. I'm ready to be the great male writer. I'm ready, okay? Look, I went to state schools, okay? This is important. No one gives a fuck. We have Vampire Weekend, okay? We fetishize preppy, rich people shit, yachting, even Instagram filters are just like the Logan Paul. Logan Paul and Jake Paul represent the working class in this country. Like these alpaca headed fucking do they read? They probably read Robert Greene or something. They probably read the 48 Laws of Power, maybe Timothy Ferris. I don't think they might. I mean, they probably listen to podcasts. I think podcasts have supplanted literature to some degree. People with writer type minds, they're just chit chatting with their friends about Cumtown or whatever. Red Scare. All those people want to be poets. There you go. Everybody in Dime Square, they all want to be poets. But you want to be contemporary, you want to be cool, you want to be an it fucking person or whatever. You want to be an office siren. You want to be, you want to, it's brat summer, okay? We're being brats. We're having our cake and eating it too because we're brats. Brat summer is like the ultimate rich kid nepo baby. Yeah, my daddy gives me everything. And I'm a brat, and I get everything, and I get more because I'm such a hot little brat, and fuck you. I'm giving cunt. I'm serving cunt. Okay? It's giving brat summer. I'm serving cunt. That's what we're doing. Easy Paradise. This weekend, we will be serving cunt. Okay, on Governor's Island. So come out. This is the PTI. You know how in PTI they just have the list of shit and they talk for a couple minutes about. I want to do that, but of all these different subjects, poetry. Yeah. So shots fired. I don't know. There's some good writers out there. God damn it. I think. There's so many professors or so many, that's a whole industry that's supporting writers that didn't exist. I know I'm negative about that, but economically, it's actually pretty amazing. And it's basically like a state-sponsored writing, it's like having a bureau almost of we're going to take all the writers, we're going to give them jobs, teaching. That's why I'm kind of suspicious of it. It's why do people think this is any different than the 50s when the CIA was funding art? It's they're funding all these writers so they can keep an eye on them. I don't know. Do they let them do whatever they want? Those writers don't seem to make it into the New York literary world, but at the same time, the New York literary world seems less and less impactful. It's who have they really launched? I mean, to be honest, I think Hanif Abdurraqib is probably one of the most famous, significant writers. I saw a picture of him with fucking Scorsese, he might have a cultural influence. I think that's one reason people respect him and they sort of give him this kind of deference, almost like he's fucking James Baldwin or something. And who knows? I mean, he has a certain kind of cultural influence that I don't really think very many writers have or have had. He's saying important shit about new shit. I mean, I don't necessarily love his poetry, I think it's a little Richard Sykin pilled, and I don't know. That's what people like. It's like Slam, Richard Sykin, uh, you know, like Candyland. People want a lot of fucking like treats. And feeling of like social importance, moving, kind of like quaking, kind of like sermon sincerity. He's definitely good with fucking language. Don't get me wrong. So it's exciting to see people sort of emulsify as significant writers or not. I don't necessarily think these things do stand the test of time. They're negotiated, they're renegotiated. To be honest, a lot of it is just a matter of PR. You know, what are the most clout fucking heavy, you know, mastheads that are saying the most positive shit about you? That's going to make you significant in people's eyes. If the New Yorker, if the New York Review of Books, if the Mars Review of Books, or the Drift, you know, Ashley's got a piece coming out in the Drift. You know, like to the literary kids, they know what these things signify. Phillips said that once the New York Times publishes something, it kills it. Then it's dead. To me, my whole goal was to get in the New York Times. It seems like you can't really be like a literary lion unless the New York Times writes about you. I mean, what else? It's either, I mean, you know, like, because the New York Times is there every day. It really feels like this kind of, I don't know, like public arena, and like the 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 sanctum sanctorum, or like the fucking hall of, you know, the Parthenon or something, you know. uh it's the institution, it's the fucking it's the, you know, um of record. It's a paper of record, right? And so like if the New York Times is like your novelist genius or something, that's going to launch you. I think they've been careless sometimes with their reviews. And you know, journalism has just been destroyed in the last 20 years. And now the only people that do it are extremely privileged, so they just write about their friends and shit. They have very small windows. There was this article with Sasha Frere Jones about the Poetry Project in The Nation. I encourage people to check it out. It was like a vague, it was like cursory. You know, these I wouldn't be surprised if the New Yorker writes an article about the Poetry Project within the next few years, to be honest. Now it's like it's becoming more, there's becoming more popular now that Alice Notley is like in the Paris Review and shit. You know, people are you know, if you're in Ohio or if you're in the middle of this country, you're probably going to pick up the Paris Review. You're probably going to pick up the New Yorker. You'll read the New York Times on your phone, you know. I used to read Volume 1 Brooklyn every day, which is like a fucking blog where they like, you know, it's like the Drudge Report or Lit Hub. I used to read all that shit. Harriet Poetry Blog used to be way better. It used to be pretty cool. Harriet Poetry Blog was pretty interesting. And then they did like a redesign, and just it sucks now. It's not, it's clunky, it's the design is just way worse. And you know, I used to be a kind of a literary, I don't know, I just paid attention to everything. I thought I was participating, but at the same time it's like I don't know how to grab the attention of these ultra cool Jordan Castro. You know, Jordan Castro is this amazing novelist. It's like, to be honest, I don't get it. Why? I looked at that book. It looked like dull. It looked dull as hell, to be honest. I think Scott McClanahan is like a kind of a cosplay of like macho, you know, Cormac McCarthy, Faulkner in West Virginia thing or something. Walmart, Faulkner or something. And that's, to me, all that shit, I don't know. The public has to have like something kind of generic to because that's lowest common denominator. You know, if you want to be popular, the way that literature used to work is like people in positions of power, like a New York Times book critic or something, they were the gate. I guess there's gatekeepers still, but it's like, you know, they write a rave review of your novel, like Jack Kerouac, right? On the Road came out. I think it was like a substitute reviewer. Like the person who was supposed to write the review got sick. I think it was supposed to be Rex Roth, and he got replaced by this other guy. And the guy said he was a genius, you know? And so it changed the guy's life like that and made him famous. And everybody said, oh, what is this? What is this book, you know? That could probably happen now. It's one of those things like, does the tail wag the dog? Or does, you know, like, do writers become famous because the New York Times writes about them? Or they have to write a book that's, like, worth the hype? You know, like things like David Foster Wallace or Dave Eggers or those white boy, kind of Wonder Boy. There's a lot of, you know, analysis and explanation why those books are significant or whatever. They seem kind of new at the time. To me, to be honest, I don't really think there's that many writers that are thinking that seriously about their prose. Most people are studying really outdated models of like their prose and their prosody and the surface of what they're doing. I think that's one of the things that semiotics is so good about. A lot of the stuff that they publish, those writers are thinking in very inventive, experimental, usually stuff, you know, that's interesting, they call experimental. It's an experimental literature. To me, it's like Burnett Mayer is the best prose writer, probably of that era, to be honest. Even though it's radically different than what like Renata Adler is doing, let's say. And I love Speedboat, but Speedboat is much more like kind of a traditional literary thing that the New York publishing world might be like, okay, let's publish this. It was like Burnett Mayer. It's like, did a major publisher ever take a chance on any of her kind of like prose-like long works? Like, I don't think so, you know? It's too fucking weird or something. But, to be honest, I think it was just too new. It was too original. It was too good. You know, you have to be able to see not even the future. You have to be able to see the now. You know, people say you're ahead of your time. It's like, you're not really ahead of your time. You're just now. You know, like Burnett Mayer was writing like it's just everybody else was writing like it was 1930 or whatever. Or 1870, or like it's, you know, trying to be Hemingway. Like everybody's still trying to be fucking Hemingway or F. Scott Fitzgerald or something. Like Jay McNerney trying to be F. Scott Fitzgerald. Tao Lin trying to be Bret Easton Ellis trying to be Hemingway. It's like, you know, Burnett Mayer gets a lot from Nathaniel Hawthorne and kind of Latin shit, Catholic Mass. She had all these nuns that taught her Nathaniel Hawthorne, the White Fawn or something. And so you can see that kind of Latin exercise extending and flowing through her long, expansive, you know, you have to put these things into containers to sell them. You know, that's part of what makes a great American quote-unquote novelist. It's like, well, you got to be able to sell and market a fucking novel. You know, so you got to be Jonathan Franzen or David Foster Wallace and have some fucking headband, have a fucking do-rag, be 6.5 feet tall and be super into tennis. And just be, he's like eccentric. Like David Foster Wallace was like eccentric, and like he was played by Jason Segel in that movie. He's like a character, you know? So it's like, that's one reason why he's this kind of celebrity star, you know, and why he died young probably, because he was made into this kind of celebrity, literary celebrity, which maybe is something he didn't want, or a lot of these writers, it does kill them, you know, being made into some kind of like hero or something in celebrity. So I don't know. I just don't think, somebody said, yeah, white bandana. There you go. Somebody said, oh, no, writers used to go out and live interesting lives and do interesting things and then write about it. It's like, well, a lot of people are doing that. There are tons of people that are doing van life, that are traveling the fucking world, backpacking, things that in On the Road or Dharma Bum seem like these kind of like far out, like, whoa, like lifestyle prescriptions. It's like, or like Jack London, going to fucking Alaska, or Melville going to fucking Taipei, or the South Pacific or whatever, going whaling and then coming back and writing about it. It's like, people do that shit. People are going all over the fucking world doing crazy shit, driving bikes off. There's less and less of the world that's undocumented, that's undiscovered. You're not like Hemingway going into some bullfight and it's like this obscure provincial thing that's like a secret that like white people don't know about. And it's like, now it's like the internet just exposes any goddamn thing immediately, just unpeels it, shows it to everybody. And, everybody's vlogging. They're vlogging their like windsurfing trip to like Australia, or backpacking through Southeast Asia, or living remotely in Europe, and just traveling around or they're influencers. They're worse. If Jack Kerouac was alive today, he'd probably be a travel vlogger, influencer. He, like these fucking people that go to Dubai and shit, or with the filters and the fillers and the, the Instagram face. It's like there's tons of people that are traveling and documenting it and filming it and talking about it and podcasting and analyzing and nitpicking and hashing it out and nagling and it's like literature moves slower. It's more of a rotisserie. It's something deepens. It takes time. It takes a lot of work. It's like an endurance thing. Like Murakami's super into marathons, right? Like he does long distance running. Writing a novel can be like that, I think. It's like a stamina thing. It's also an economic thing. It's like, who has the fucking time, space, desk, health insurance to do that? There's no magazines that'll pay you $40,000 for a fucking short story. There's very few magazines that are even like high profile venues. I mean, when other than Cat Person, Cat Person was rare in that it was like a short story that was kind of like famous or viral or something. Miranda July, maybe, I guess, was like sort of a pop culture success, but also like sort of a weirdo, outsider, avant-garde artist. I definitely think there's tons of interesting things happening in literature. It is sort of like a niche thing of just like gifted kids or smart kids, or people in who care about reading. I don't think that will go away, really. Just like vinyl. And people want to be writers. People want to yap. People want to, get a fucking prize for, feeling smart, or having the hot take, or, having the, the smart thing to say in class. I don't know. I think with writing a novel, there is like this magic, it's like when you, not digestion, but it's like when you turn food into something, like tenderizing it. It takes time, and you're transmuting. It's memory, imagination, hypothetical things that could happen, things that actually happen to you, things you heard, things from life, and you're kind of, throwing that all together, molding it into something new, something that's not just totally real. The autofiction thing, I think, I don't know. Uh, Things have either gone way into fantasy or they're gone way into documentary autobiography. I think people backed away from representing other people's experience in their writing, you know, because it was like very politically charged and maybe just not right to do that. And so it's hard to write fiction, right? If you can't imagine other, I don't know. Okay, 20%. So I just, it hasn't been trending. I mean, and like I said, I think they tried to do that with Tao Lin. That Taipei book got a big. It came out with Vintage, which is like Bret Easton Ellis's publisher. I'm not sure. I think his last book probably came out with a big publisher. Um, I don't know. There are definitely celebrity writers like Rupi Kaur or Imrata wrote a book. Like people want to be smart. They want to be hot and smart. I really think poetry could explode in this country. I really think it's something that is perfect for the internet. It's perfect weapon against capitalism, against, productivity, consumer. But it's also like it's a more rich, kind of sincere, detailed show business or entertainment. I think people want to talk about everything to they don't just want stand-up comedy point of view. They don't just want big Hollywood, like watching these Hollywood movies. We watch Blood and Wine with Jack Nicholson. It's like, what is the fucking point of this movie? It's sort of like a remake of like Key Largo or something. It's like an updated noir, like 90s, like golf course, Cadillac, like Dockers khaki, fucking Florida core. Rachel Cusk. Yeah, well, is that the Flamethrowers? What book did Rachel Cusk write? Yeah, there's tons of fucking. And I feel like people read them. Like the Sally Rooney book or the. What was it? My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I think people read that fucking book, definitely. Like, New Yorkers were reading that book. But like I had heard that major publishers, they're literally paying their bills and they're making money through like celebrity memoirs. That's how they make money, and then they use that to like print like 1,000 copies of mostly the Outline trilogy. Okay. Um, Books that sell under 1,000 copies. I mean, to be honest, I stopped reading fiction about 10 years ago. I, I used to read, like, whatever was kind of the current, whatever, The Love Affairs of Nathaniel or what P or whatever the fuck that book was. Or, like I said, I read Taipei. I read Bryn Lerner's stuff, Leaving the Atocha Station and 1004. When 1004 came out, I mean, I would say Nausgard, right? Nausgard was like the last cowboy that just like everybody in the New York literary world was like in love with Nausgard. They were all gushing. Jonathan Lethem and Zadie Smith and everybody fucking, it was just like Nausgard mania. Everybody loved My Struggle, And then Trump got elected. And suddenly a 7,000 page mansplanation white guy excruciating detail, oversharing, possibly toxic. I didn't read it. It was like Game of Thrones. It was like binge watching. It was just like this huge trauma dump. Named after Adolf Hitler's book. I mean, people, you know, he was like the rock star. Everybody wanted to fuck Nausgaard, okay? He was on Vice. He was I would say maybe he was the last writer that had that kind of like, you know, he was almost a celebrity, kind of. And he was a white guy just letting it rip about his blah, blah, blah. You know, Nausgaard and 1004 kind of came out at the same, or like, you know, they were getting like a push at like the same time, like 2014. It was like, that was like autofiction. It was like Paris Review published an excerpt from 1004. New Yorker was publishing excerpts from it. It was like, this is what it's going to be. White guys just writing exactly what their life is. And being neurotic. You know, just being hyper self-conscious, hyper neurotic. And it's like, this is the greatest writing that we have. Yeah, these are the greatest writers we have. And, you know, the stuff that I have read of that, I thought it was entertaining. You know, I thought it was okay. I read Annie Baker. You know, Annie Baker was... I used to keep up with all this shit. I used to keep up with, like, okay, who are my peers? And they left me behind long ago. I mean, Annie Baker won, like, the Pulitzer Prize. And I liked her plays, you know. You know, 1004 I thought was amusing. Yeah, Bret Easton Ellis is like, you know, he's like the elder statesman now. He's like, you know, everyone's wants the Bret Easton Ellis, you know. He's Papa. He's the number one, I would say. I mean, I have a friend who knows Gay Talese. Oh, no. Yeah, we shouldn't have started talking about Bret Easton Ellis. You can't have a Bret Easton Ellis. I've been summoning a lot of people recently. I've been thinking about people, and then when I think about them, they, like, send me a message or, like, you know, something happens. All right. Good night, Ashley. I did not read Atticus Lynch's book, Lynch's book, but that was apparently a swing at like you know, the big great American white guy novel. Even though it was not about white guy experience, it was about like an immigrant in like Queens or something. So it was like, you know, fictionalized in that respect. He was appropriating another person's cultural experience, really. Yeah, so I don't know. It's like our job to deal with all these huge questions in a way that like white guy authors never have had to. And that's okay. I think these questions do need to be dealt with. I just don't want to be, you know, just signing the loyalty oath about everything and just signing off and towing the line about everything without thinking about it and parroting, you know, the kind of just like bumper sticker of just like all the political discourse. And it's hard because you do want to like fit in or like be a part of the zeitgeist, or like how do you get these people to like you? How do you become like a cool alt-lit person? You know, why don't people, you know, why is Joseph Grantham like famous? Why is he on Dennis Cooper blog? You know, like I don't really get why Joseph Grantham is like he doesn't live in New York. Is it just because he has a mustache? And I don't know. These kids like all met each other on the internet, and you know, so they build like a celebrity or like clout online that people think is real. You know, that's what people believe now. It's like, how many followers do you have, and who are they? You know, it's like a mutual approval, admiration society with Twitter or whatever, and rather than just like, so it's like, it's just like everything. It takes place on the internet for the most part. It doesn't. It's not like who New York publishing houses say. You know, or like, do they even get a manuscript? Like, I'm sure they do. But is it Ben Fama? Ben Fama wrote a novel. I didn't read it. I think it's cowardly for poets to write novels, to be honest. It's like taking the easy way out. Like, you shouldn't write a novel, you should write an epic poem, you know? Um, you're a poet, right? Like some kind of freaky, long, you know, okay, Ashley, I got it. I got it. You don't need to spam the chat by copying and pasting things, okay? Um, like writing a novel, it's like it's so commercial. Everybody writes a novel because they want a huge advance. They think they're gonna get some huge advance, like their Garth Greenwell or whoever the fuck that guy is. There was some guy that got like some huge advance for his novel. So everybody coming out of the MFA program wants an agent. They want to get a huge advance because they want to be bougie. They want to, they want a bougie lifestyle where they're a professor and their tenure and they can put a down payment on a house and shit like William H. Macy. And they want the Oleana lifestyle. Okay, Ashley, just keep chatting away then. They want that Oleana tenure and mortgage program. It's all political, fighting for jobs, climbing the ladder, clawing it out, playing king of the mountain, queen of the mountain, queen of the castle, capture the flag. We're just trying to seek literary glory. What do? You just be a better fucking writer than everybody else. How do you do that? I don't know. Childhood trauma? Have good childhood trauma? What is it that makes a great writer? I think there's tons of great writers. I think we have like such a polluted view of what talent is. It's like, oh my God, there's only Hemingway or fucking Bret Easton Ellis or Robert Town or, Catherine Lacey. And it's like, I don't know. It's, there's a lot of stories to tell, okay? I just wish people weren't so obsessed with goddamn fantasy. Everybody wants to read George R.R. Martin. That's what all the men are reading, okay? That's where all the great male writers are. They're writing fucking male fantasy. They're writing dark fantasy novels about, let me go back over here. About Winterfell or whatever the fuck. Oh, my fucking computer? What happened? Alright. Just give me 1 second to reorient here. Going back into the video. I'm just going to keep going because we've just got such a great audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. I can really feel the movement building. Free Matt Proctor. Free Matt Proctor. I can really feel the groundswell happening. We'll be giving away Free Matt Proctor this weekend at New York Poetry Festival on Governor's Island. Come check us out. We'll have, okay, Ashley, I see your final message. Your final message. Yeah, so, Free Matthews there, exactly. Free Matt Matthews. Free the Matt Matthews within, okay? Yeah, we're revolutionizing show business. How much time should I prepare for this Sunday? Okay, yeah, so like 4 minutes, you know. Whatever you want to do. The idea is Billy Lamont is sort of the feature. He's an amazing guy. He'll probably do like 10 minutes. I'll probably do a couple minutes sort of here and there with whatever it is that I do. And then the three uh, other poets will do, you know, whatever time is, 15 minutes or something, sort of, between, give or take. So, it'll be great. And, I mean, we're going to have a good slot at a good stage, so I hope, I think it'll be, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know. I've done New York Poetry Festival a number of times now. I love doing it because it's just kind of open source. You can just go and do your thing, sell your book, sound your truth, speak your mind. There's an open mic, for people that want to participate. They do have an open mic. All right, Ashley, good night. It's Brat Summer, Ashley. It's Brat Summer. We're celebrating Brat Summer here. Yeah, so it's an amazing event. Taking the ferry. It's a lot of people. It's people just go to fucking yeah. People just go to Governor's Island in the summer just to like bike and shit. They just fucking go there to just like. Because it's a destination. It's like a vacation for poor people. Like me. You can't go anywhere real, so you're just like, okay, I'll take the ferry to Governor's Island. It costs, $3 or whatever. Come on, man. How do I plug this fucking thing in? I gotta plug my phone in. But I cannot tell if it's charging while I'm live somehow. So, Ashley, I'm affirming whatever you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. Is it about me being gay for PUSSY? Or is it something else? Are you being censored again by YouTube? I can't play this guessing game anymore. Okay? How do I plug this in? I can't tell if I'm being charged or not. My phone port is dirty, so I'm going to clean that really fast. Everybody get ready. I'm about to put a piece of wood in the charging port of my phone. You might feel this. You might feel a little tingle. Just relax. I'm just cleaning this out real fast so I can charge it. Hopefully this works so I can keep the stream alive. I don't want to lose these 9 beautiful souls out there tuning in. What did you just say? Don't summon random bitches. Okay, it's censoring the word bitches. For some reason, my chat is censoring people. To be honest, I think YouTube censors, like, it's crazy how much, okay, I don't know if that's charging, who knows. I'm not feeling like a buzz. Like it usually, like, buzzes when, oh, well, we'll see. I mean, it's either going to cut me off or it's going to charge, so, God wants me to keep streaming, then, okay. I didn't say anything about that, Ashley. You are jumping to conclusions. You're beating me over the head with them. I'm like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, okay? I've got to go get my laundry, I guess. Maybe it's better if my battery dies. So, yeah, I'll be reading totally new poetry, as always. I'll be reading my usual controversial, X-rated, viral, internet famous, alt-lit super celebrity, downtown, power slop. Jail's been good for me, okay? Jail's been good for me. Let me just say that. Jail's been good for me. Okay, love you, Ashley. Starlight Sunshine in the house, what's up? How you doing? Thank you. Everybody's here. Wow. My family is here. You're all my family now. This is the Trogs, one of my all-time favorite bands, the Trogs. Yeah, so we're just hyping New York Poetry Festival. We're just we're discussing why there's no more male novelists. There's no great novelists. There's no great male novelists. Hey now. There's no great male novelists because they're stand-up comedians now. Everybody who would have been a male novelist is now a red-pilled podcasting stand-up comedian. Hey now. We're all on YouTube, incels, talking about, thank you, Starlight Sunshine. Thank you for tuning in. My phone might die any second, I'm not sure. Yes, exactly. It's election year. We've got 24/7 election coverage. We are fighting political collapse with poetry. We've got a long way to go, folks, okay? As long as we have open mics, I think we'll be okay. That's all we need, you know? We just need attention from like 6 weirdos in the back room of a overpriced New York City bar. That's all your human spirit really needs to keep going. Is like the same 4 people seeing your radical nuclear poetry that's never really going to affect any. Well, we've already affected such massive change. I just want to say that we've already Bruce Holiday, we were wondering. I was going to give a shout out to Bruce Holiday, my man. Boomer in the house. Open mics better than shows. A controversial but hot take. I like it. Open mics feel more ethical to me. It's, a show. I think a lot of the comedians in particular, they're kind of getting ahead of themselves. Like some of these shows are like $20. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're charging $20 and like you expect people to buy drinks and shit for that? Like, I don't know. You better fucking. Open mics are better than sex, everybody. You heard. I mean, it might be true, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty exhilarating to get in front of an audience and kill. And I mean, to be honest, an open mic feels like, you know how people do like that thing where they run over hot coals? And it becomes like this, like ooh, like bonding ritual, like, oh my god, like you're gonna run over the hot, like that's kind of how an open mic is. It's kind of like, everybody kind of gets thrown in the volcano, and that's exciting, I think, and it's a group baptism by fire, so we're all bathed in the blood of the Lamb together, and so we feel like we've been through this thing. I don't know. People really bond at open mics, Ashley feels that way with Eileen Miles. Let me get my novels here. I am going to be selling, my fucking books did get all fucked up by water. So maybe I'll just, this is like destroyed by water, actually. It's such a tragedy. For some reason, I put my books, because I think I took them to the Poetry Festival last year. I don't even know if I took them, but I put them on the floor of my storage. So when it flooded, the water got into the box and it fucked up my novels. So if anybody wants like water damaged copies of my travel books, maybe I'll be giving these away this weekend at the festival. But yeah, I don't really bring these out that much, so I'll have these this weekend. It's trying to make ends meet as itinerant poetry vendors. I don't know. I would do like a New York Poetry Festival every week. If I could just travel around the country, like selling books at different like book fairs, if there were poetry festivals, I think that'd be great. That'd be a great thing. There was like a circuit You know, we really have to take the poetry revolution nationwide. You know, people need to be doing open mics everywhere, printing zines everywhere, making poetry films together. They should not be writing poetry for like ads on the subway. That's one thing that drives me nuts is how much poetry got into like fucking ad speak and shit. I can't believe I have 12 people watching. I've never had 12 people watching before, so I'm like kind of yeah, but Ashley, your book has to become some kind of huge success. You really have to have like a blockbuster hit. So the responsibility's on you. I just decided to write avant-garde literature as long as it felt like there was no way that you were going to succeed anyway. You know, it just felt like no one is going to publish anything I write. And I don't know. The idea of like sitting down and laboring over sentences. I like the idea of writing a novel in kind of like a long, smooth way, almost like objectivist poetry, or like there's this guy James Laughlin, who's really good. Charles Reznikoff, James Laughlin. He was the publisher of New Directions, and he's got a very kind of easy flowing poetic style that I think would be good for a novel. One of the best prose books I've read recently was I think it's called Outside Inside by Martha King, who's married to the painter Basil King. They're who was at Black Mountain College, and he was like a part of the Cedar Tavern and all this unbelievable New York shit, and he still lives in Park Slope with Martha King. Her prose style and Black Mountain style, I think, is something that prose writers should really look at more and study more. Like, there's this guy Michael Ruemaker, this fucking book about Robert Duncan. This guy was Yoko Ono's husband, I think, before John Lennon, but he's gay, and he wrote this book. It's Robert Duncan in San Francisco, and so he went to Black Mountain with Duncan and shit, and so his prose style is very Black Mountain. I don't know how to describe that. You know, these new narrative writers, I thought that was very exciting, that they kind of became like some known more like Kevin Killian, Dodie Bellamy, those San Francisco writers. You know, I haven't read Bruce Boone or Robert Glick, but Dennis Cooper, of course, is like super relevant to contemporary kind of, you know, twink, what is it, slut literature. Yeah, well, this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't know, I don't even read. Really, you know, it's like I just don't know that we have that kind of deep time. The phone is just it's got a chokehold on all of us. You know, we're just what, Ashley? Give me those books to read. Okay, yes, I'll give them to you. You got to get Kevin Killian, you know, anything Kevin Killian. I mean, this is one reason why I moved to fucking live streaming. Because it's like immediate discourse, immediate composition. This book is really good. Prose writers, I would definitely encourage to look at Kenneth Rexroth. His poetry, he's got this book that's like some of his newspaper columns, mountain writings, and then this is his autobiographical novel. I think he composed it on tape recorders, and then they transcribed it. But it just flows really well. You know, I think that that's something that prose writers should think about, what their writing looks like, how it feels, what it means, you know, what's underneath it, like a poet does. Okay, love you, Ashley. You know, I think even like Charles Dickens like wrote those novels fast. They were like fucking serialized, and he'd publish them like, you know, a chapter at a time and shit. I think he did kind of have to just, you know, there's this idea that like you work a novel over and it's like super perfect and it takes all this time and blah 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 to sort of like cross all the I's and dot all the lowercase J's. And I don't know. I like the idea that it can be like that's one thing that I think is interesting about Jack Kerouac is his novels kind of do all these different things. You know, Dharma Bums he wrote fast, but it's very clean. You know, it's the sentences are shorter. There aren't these kind of long, kind of messier, kind of like you know solos of paragraphs and things which he does in other books, or something like Visions of Cody, right, is like this radical experiment with like tape recorders. He's playing, yeah, Kurt Vonnegut. You know, he's doing all the, he's playing all these different speeds, all these different tempos. He's getting all these different kind of levels of density of thinking and his, you know, the kind of thickness of his stream kind of fluctuates through the different books. You know, the different books are kind of concept albums in a way. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't. There's like a there is like a small niche audience. It's like what I've found with poetry is like there's probably 1,000 people in the country maybe that like really get it, and that's like being generous. You know, maybe 1,000 people that like really care about whatever avant-garde experimental kind of new American writing. You know, I think I don't know. Maybe it's just cuz I'm so I mean, I am obsessed with like the mechanics of the art that I'm making and like what it's doing to me, to the audience. And so I get like deconstruct things and I get caught up in that stuff. And so I'm kind of more interested in writers that give me tools to compose in new ways, new modes of invention, new looks, things I can steal basically. You know, I want my books, you know, to function like poems, like novels, um, like episodic, kind of like, you know, you can read them small, you can read them like little haikus and just read one stanza and think about that stanza. You can read it fast, you can read it slow, you can read it easy, you can think about it for a long time. I want it to have visual, you know, the way it looks on the page. You know, I want people to think about, you know, this is one of my favorite fucking like prose poetry, you know, hybrids. As I the star scene in person, John Wiener's these journals, like it's basically prose, but you know, he's constantly shifting the way it looks on the page, the line breaks, the density of it. And so to me that metamorphosis, that constant fluctuation, that feels very truthful and interesting and kind of exploratory. Maybe it's old fashioned, but you know, I would rather read novels that read and look like something like that than I don't know. Maybe hybrid with something like that's a more traditional kind of prose or whatever, academic prose or Strunken White or you know, semicolon. I mean, even if you look at Faulkner, Faulkner is like oh, that's interesting. The Mayor of McDougal Street. Yeah, I'll have to get that. Faulkner's like making up words and shit and like sort of inventing portmanteaus and things like um there is like you know that's the thing about poetry is it just like it gives you you're always creating from your own ideas, your own invention, your you know you have to figure out the extensions of those ideas, the metaphor of that idea, flushing out that metaphor, embodying the metaphor in the poem through the form in addition to you know the content. Well, I wanted to do it's poetry weeks and I watched this video about I've literally talked about this the whole fucking time is why there's no major novelists. I mean yeah, I just there's no middle class. You know, people have to work all the time. You know, all they can do is watch TikTok videos while they're at work, at Best Buy or whatever, or driving our trains. Apparently, the reason why they can't get there's no 24 hours restaurants is they can't get people to work in them. Which, like, I don't, is that really true? Like, people, I go to Taco Bell at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're open. You can't get a diner to find somebody to work there? I don't know. Is this because we're just lazy? Gen Z is lazy? We were all radically uh, de, energized by the fucking pandemic. So I don't know. I mean, you know, people are watching YouTube videos at like 2 times speed or whatever. You know, they're inhaling podcasts, serial podcasts, murder, psycho, you know, true crime podcasts. What the fuck with Mark Maron or whatever the fuck it is, you know. Um, Will Arnett, whatever that, or Club Coco or Planet Coco or whatever the fuck it is. You know, everybody, like, if anybody doesn't see that like show business, it's kind of a gold rush. I mean, if you can get a fucking podcast audience like that Stavros guy was just on Marin. He was just on WTF, you know, and so that guy, I think he's from Cumtown, and he's, you know, that they're just on YouTube and fucking podcasts and shit. And if you could figure out how to post a fucking podcast, I could never actually figure out the Apple like codec and all this kind of shit. So I got taken out. That's why I do this. This is like my lazy, immediate, instant response mechanism to whatever crisis is happening in our society in a completely debranded way. No frills, but yeah, Conan. You know, Conan transforming from late night desk through all the weird changes, no desk, denim jacket, to now with he's got this kind of like podcast. Like they just started this fucking podcast like Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson. It's like I it just seems like, you know, people are consuming media either through like, you know, streaming through their TV or like their phone. And so it's like it's it's kind of surprising how fucking popular these fucking podcasts are, to be honest. Um, are they literary? Are they like a replacement for writing? Are they doing the same thing? Uh, I love books on tape. You know what I mean? Like that's one reason why I do like push fucking all the readings on YouTube and shit and like try to read my stuff on here from time to time is like every poet, every author should release a book on tape, right? And it's just an interesting time for that boundary between oral, reading out loud, writing on the page. You know, like a novelist, something happens where you really, like you do with reading, you know what I mean? You go into this kind of like, this really kind of burrowed in, concentrated. It's almost like an erogenous zone, right? Like it's almost like the G spot of your fucking brain. I don't know what part of your brain that is, but like, you know, mental in your brain is actually your